Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Protocol Pegasus here, bringing it back to you guys in Remnant from the Ashes, and today we'll be taking an all-new look at the Vulcan's Corrupted Labyrinth build. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy, and let's get into it. Alright, so the character sheet is going to be as followed. From here, I'm using the handgun known as the Hive Cannon, attached onto its weapon mod known as the Hive Shot, which is a non-removable mod. From there, I'm using the shotgun as my long gun. From there, I have the weapon mod attached onto it known as Unstoppable Quills. From here, I'm using the melee weapon known as the Butcher's Flail. For my armor set, I'm using one piece Corrupted Hood. The second piece is going to be in Doomsayer for the chest, and the third piece is going to be the pants, which is one piece Labyrinth. From there, I'm using the necklace known as Vulcan's Detonator. From the first ring I'm utilizing is Blood Font. From the second ring I'm utilizing is Aslan's Band. Now, on to traits. So the three primary traits I'd highly recommend throughout the course of this build are going to be as followed. From here, I recommend utilizing, I believe, Treg, which is going to increase healing efficiency by 100%, and I know I probably pronounced that wrong. You can yell at me down below in the comments. From there, I recommend also utilizing Spirit, which increases my power generation by 25%, excuse me. And last but not least, the final trait I recommend is using Swiftness, which increases movement speed by 15%. Now, once again, like I stated in every one of my videos I happen to do for Remnant from the Ashes, I highly recommend that you get every trait within the course of the game because it minimaxes your character and just makes it that much more acceptable to anything or any outcome that you might experience throughout the course of your campaign experience. But enough about that, let's go ahead and dive right into some gameplay. Alright, so we're playing on Nightmare mode here. We are over in Earth, and today I'm going to give you an overall breakdown of some tips, tricks, and basically general ideas as opposed to why I picked the items I did to go about making this set build. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So one of the main reasons I ended up going with Hive Cannon as my secondary gun was just because of the fact that I like the ability to have a lot of AoE potential while also being able to clear out a lot of ads very, very quickly by just laying waste to them with the mod potential that the Hive Cannon had attached to it. So it allowed me to go about not only being able to clear out multiple ads, but it also allowed me to position it accordingly so that way I can instantly start dealing damage to whoever happens to walk past it, whether it be a corridor, whether it be a boss, and so on and so forth. It just synergizes really, really well with my second gun, which would be my shotgun. Because the shotgun has the spikes attached onto it, it allows me to go about tossing out the spikes, applying corrosive damage, but because I also have Vulcan's necklace attached onto it too, what it allows me to do is it allows me to proc the AoE output damage, which I wouldn't normally happen to have with the Vulcan spikes. Because when the Vulcan spikes normally explode, it applies corrosive damage, it does a little bit of damage in itself, and that's it, you call it a day. But with Vulcan's Detonator, it not only applies the corrosive damage, it not only applies the base value damage output, but now it's also bigger AoE output damage, and it also applies fire, which also can burn your target. So you're applying two status effects onto onto multiple single targets that happen within the course of that set area. So it's a really, really strong, high, devastating attack just because of that form factor. And then when you tie it in with the weapon mod from Hive Cannon, which allows you to throw down the corrosive spores and they will go about pretty much laying waste to whoever happens to be standing within it. And then on top of that, you end up hitting them with the spikes, which not only applies corrosive damage, fire damage, but then it also staggers your enemies too, because it's such a high impact ability which causes so much damage within a short given amount of time. They just end up becoming staggered. And this also works on bosses, so they stay in your AoE longer. So with that being said, you end up getting a lot better synergy than what you would normally. So in the long run, you end up capitalizing on your overall damage output as well as your maximal efficiency when it comes to your survivability, because you're keeping not only a set distance away from your enemy, but you're also applying AoE output damage and single target damage within the course of pretty much 2 attacks, which can actually be strong enough to clear an entire room. So it's actually very, very good in that regard. One of the other core concepts I really like about it is the fact that, as you can clearly see during this fight, I can shoot enemies' feet, which will allow me to go about doing splash damage to those that have a high defense, which allows me to go about getting around that set defense, in turn continuously damaging them to enemies that I wouldn't normally be able to damage. So it's really, really cool. It's really situational at the end of the day. It's super adaptable, and it's really unique in the sense to just be able to pretty much encounter all these different types of enemies in all these different types of ways, because you have so much like utility in this course of the kit, which is a lot of fun. Another core aspect I really do like about this build is that it's using a 3-piece individual set. And what I mean by that, I'm using the Corrupted Hood set, I'm using the Doomslayer set, and I'm also using Labyrinth. Now, the reason I did this is because I wanted to do something unique. I wanted to go about doing something a little bit diverse, a little bit different. But I also did this because each one of these individual set pieces actually have a high enough bonus factor that when tied in by themselves, they can actually go about buffing your overall character quite substantially. And from there, it actually synergizes very well to the point of where not only does it give me increased damage output, but it also gives me increased armor value while still making it light base frame, so it doesn't impact my dodge rolls, and it still allows me to take a lot of hits while still consuming mod passive regeneration, which is fantastic, so my odds are constantly always up. And what's also cool is that the helmet, the corrupted helmet, which gives me health regeneration, is tied in with the 2 rings that I have, Aslan's Band and Blood Font. So it increases my overall healing potential, allowing me to heal very, very well while not triggering any form of healing wards or anything along those lines, or utilizing any form of Dragon Hearts. So you'll notice throughout the course of this video, I'm actually healing quite significantly without any form of pods or anything like that. So you have fantastic self-sustain with this overall setup, which is really good against any enemies that give off any form of status effects, or if you just end up getting overrun and you don't know what to go about doing. At the end of the day, this really gives you time to be able to adapt to any given situation and just be ready for that set situation, despite whatever circumstances you happen to be in. Another cool form factor with this is that if you accidentally end up exploding yourself, which you can do, so keep in mind the spikes as well as the hide cannon can detonate yourself, putting 2 status effects on you and also doing the base value damage of those set attacks directed towards you. So you want to make sure that you have enough distance to be able to synergize very, very well with those course of attacks and not end up killing yourself in the process. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but that's one of the reasons I recommend doing the swiftness trait, because the swiftness trait makes a hell of a difference. That little extra 15% or 25% of movement speed, whatever the case may be, makes one hell of a difference at the end of the day. Just being able to outrun your opposing enemies, just being able to reposition yourself accordingly, and just not detonate yourself by accident. Because if you're in a tight base corridor, especially with a shotgun, you can find yourselves in some form of predicaments where you end up just popping those mods real quick to just try and get away, or just do as maximum amount of damage you can, and boom, you end up blowing yourself up. So to avoid that, you want to kite a lot, reposition accordingly, and just make sure you keep a set amount of distance away from your enemy to the point of where you're pretty much using hit and run tactics to capitalize on your overall survivability as a whole, while still being able to do sustainable amount of damage. Another cool form factor to this base build is that I am using the Butcher's Flail, because the Butcher's Flail, I like the fact that it applies pretty much armor reducing effects, which allows me to go about not only weakening their base armor, but it also does an AoE cleave. It also hits harder too, so it just makes it really nice and essential to be able to utilize to tie it into boss fights, to clear out ads. From there, it's just overall really nice weapon. It's worked for me in the past, I figured why the hell not, and I think it synergizes pretty well with the build at the end of the day. But all in all, at the end of the day, guys, when it comes to the overall thoughts on this set build, I do find it to be a lot of fun. It's really diverse, unique. If you haven't, I would highly recommend giving it a shot, test it out. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I think this build is definitely a lot of fun. I think you guys would happen to enjoy it a lot as well. I just find it to be very, very strong and really adaptable. You could probably run this over in Apocalypse mode. The only reason I'm running in Nightmare mode is just because of the fact that I don't have a lot of time to keep continuously recording these set videos, so Nightmare mode just lets me go about doing it a little bit faster. But take it out for a spin, try it out in Nightmare mode. It obviously works, as you can go about seeing within the course of this gameplay. But from there, test it out in Apocalypse mode. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know the details, if I should change anything, mix it up a little bit, if you hate it, whatever the case might be. But yeah, guys, if you guys haven't already, feel free to like, favorite, subscribe. It definitely really helps me out, and it lets me go about giving more and more progress to the overall channel as a whole. Just pretty much pushes me forward to go about doing more exceptional builds and do more things at the end of the day. One of the factors I really need you guys to go about doing for me, if you guys don't mind, is post down below in the comment section if you guys want to see Remnant from the Ashes live stream events. I don't mind doing base live stream events. I did a few of them in the past. I ran into some technical difficulties. That's why I'm not doing them as of right now. But I can address a lot of those base issues. Just let me know if it's something you guys want to see again. If you guys are really interested, I'd love to know your comments, concerns, your overall feedback. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it, guys. If you guys have any other questions or concerns, post it down below in the comment section. But if you guys aren't already, I hope you guys have a awesome day, and I hope to see you guys real soon. Later.